Good morning, Bitcoiners. Day 38, Citadel Summer. This is Citadel Daniel. Daniel from the Bitcoin Citadel. And today we're going to talk about good money. Yesterday was bad money. Today is good money. And I want to start off to jump in with E. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jeckyl Island. People ask me all the time, what's the best Bitcoin book to start with? And, there's all kinds of books you could start with. A lot of people start with Safe Dean's The Bitcoin Standard. A lot of good books have come out just recently. I saw a list online that had Bitcoin books going all the way back to, I think the first books were in 2013 or 2014. The book I like the best is The Creature from Jeckyl Island. Because in order to become a Bitcoiner, to see the Bitcoin option, right, to opt out of the current financial system, you have to understand it and you have to not trust it. Everyone who is happy and trusts the system, I don't care how smart you are, you're not going to opt into Bitcoin. You're not going to opt out of the fiat system. I know a lot of people that have money, and that are smart, that just deride Bitcoin. They're not ready for it. Well, the way to get ready, if you're a new coiner, you're not really a Bitcoiner yet, you're not a pre-coiner, you're curious, right? Is The Creature from Jeckyl Island. It's a long book. It's not easy to read because it's harrowing. The veil is lifted, right? One of the things that we Bitcoiners have is we are able to look at the enormity of the situation as it presents itself now, right? All these bombs that are dropping in the summer of 2025 that are shocking, people who are not Bitcoiners. We're ready. We've dealt with that, right? We've looked under the, behind the curtain on those things a long time ago. We don't trust the current system. One of the things we resonate with Donald Trump about is we know it's fake news, right? And The Creature from Jeckyl Island is that kind of book, right? It's the kind of book where if you give me a summary of The Creature from Jeckyl Island into any AI, I don't care which one you use. When it returns your summary, it's going to say something about conspiracy theories. Because that's the way the mainstream looks at it. But as a Bitcoiner, someone who's been down the rabbit hole, someone who no longer trusts the system, believe me, it's a product of a lot of research, and it's a great book. I listened to it in the car when I was driving. I used to have to drive back and forth to work, and I would just listen to it. It took a long time to listen to. Totally worth it. The ending of the book is a downer, but remember, it was written before Bitcoin. What I want to talk about today from the book is the good money part, because part of that book is, it's like the Bitcoin Standard where it gives a history of money. It's about the formation of the Federal Reserve in 1913 and the events that led up to it. But there's a history lesson about money in there as well. And there's also the fallout from the Federal Reserve. So the part of the history lesson about money that I want to talk about now is the part about good money. And in the past, good money has been precious metals, particularly gold. And in the book, Griffin talks about the ancient Byzantine Empire. So when the Roman Empire broke up, part of it was Rome, part of it was the Byzantine, what became, Constantinople, and then now it's called Istanbul, was based in Istanbul on the Bosphorus, and it was the Eastern Empire. The Western Empire fell basically because the money got fucked up. Kid show, sorry. And the taxes and all the things piled up, and it just collapsed under its own weight. Just kind of like we're doing now, right? The Eastern Empire never had that. The Eastern Empire lasted for a lot longer because the money was never debased. They always used the same gold coinage. I can't remember the name of it, like the soldari or something like that. I haven't read the book in a while. But the Eastern Empire lasted a lot longer. As a matter of fact, the Eastern Empire really lasted all the way up through World War I, right? So it had sound money for, all that time, right? Now, gold is not a perfect money. Gold is the best money that we had before Bitcoin, right? And another story about sound money in the Creature from Jeckyl Island is about America before the revolution. And then, the money gets debased before the revolution. During the Revolutionary War, it gets debased even more. And there's a whole section in the Creature from Jeckyl Island about, especially the part about Rhode Island is awesome, because I was just in Rhode Island. Rhode Island's a crazy place, right? And the money was so bad there that everything was falling apart, right? I think there's a specific section about Newport and how the whole place was totally run down. One of the things that happened in the beginning of America, one of the things that happened was there was in the Constitution a section about money, and the money was gold and silver, right? And when we went back on to a gold standard and off of this fiat nonsense that had happened, and each state had a different kind of fiat currency, and Rhode Island was pretty bad, I guess. Everything turned around pretty quickly when they went back to sound money, right? Really quickly. And I think that's what's going to happen here for Bitcoiners, right? Because remember, we're still going to have bad money drives out good, and we're still going to have bad money. There's still going to be this UBI money, this garbage money, but eventually that is going to wash through the system, and we're going to have good money, which is Bitcoin, when we have hyperbitcoinization, and Bitcoin becomes the standard of all financial systems, right? That's going to happen. When that happens, the bad money will be gone, and we'll have Bitcoin, and that's going to be when the golden age really starts. The other story I wanted to tell about, so good money, Newport turns around completely, becomes the city that it is now. And it's still, we're in a fiat world, but if you go to Newport, that place is still rocking along pretty well because of how much it succeeded economically during that good money era. The last thing I want to talk about is the British Empire. And back in the early 19th century, late 18th century, there was a dude there named Isaac Newton. Pretty smart guy. A lot of people remember him. He was a natural philosopher, the whole thing with the apple falling on his head. That guy, right? One of the smartest dudes that ever lived. Guess what he did? He wrote all those books, famous dude, had his whole thing. You know what they had him doing in England? He took over the mint in England because the money was so bad. That's where Gresham's law comes from. The money in England was terrible. It was really bad, right? They didn't become the empire that cruised all the way through basically World War I, right? When the whole central banking system thing became really bad. I think England was basically taken over by the Rothschilds after they defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. There's a whole story in the book about that too. Go back to Jeckyl Island. But England was smart enough that they had Isaac Newton in charge of the mint, and his job was to fix the currency, to fix the gold guinea, right? The coins that were the coin of the realm, and the silver pennies. He was supposed to make sure they were the purest, best money ever, good money, right? Because when all the money is good money, there's not bad money circulating and good money. You have a good money economy. That's where we'll get with hyperbitcoinization. So Newton was in charge of fixing the money. And when he did that, that's when Great Britain took off. That's when they had the empire that lasted for another couple hundred years, right? So good money, super important, right? And now the good money that we have is Bitcoin. Now, if you're a Bitcoiner, right? If you're putting all of your money into Bitcoin, or even just putting, a certain amount in every paycheck, right? You're going to be in good shape if you can hold on to that money. And the way you're going to do that is find your community. I say this all the time. Find your community, your people that are going to, you can trust, that are going to work with you, your group, right? You can do that online. I've talked about options for that before in videos. And get your Bitcoin into self-custody. That's all you got to do. Get your Bitcoin into self-custody. Everything else, there's some important things outside of that scope, but everything else is secondary to that task. Get your Bitcoin into self-custody. Now, if you want help with that, book a call with me, book a call at the Bitcoin Citadel, and we can talk about it. If you want to help me out, oh yeah, look at that. The sun just came up. That's awesome. I usually come out in the morning and I do my video first, and then I have a little exercise routine I do out here. It's awesome. But this morning I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to have the fog background behind me again. And it looked like it was going to clear up and be kind of nice. So hopefully you guys can see that in the video. It's actually really cool. The sun just popped up. So like, subscribe, comment. If you made it this far, drop me a comment. Tell me that you made it this far. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.